if you're on the computer, little red dot that's blinking that says it's recording. So I'm using a Dana system, their Dana account, and there is a way, and I'll show you later, that you can automatically let people know that things are recording, that when they join the meeting, it says it's being recorded. They don't have it set up that way, so I'm just letting you know it's being recorded. And in the upper left corner, you'll see always, if it's being recorded, that there's a little blinking light saying that. So how about if you guys look around your office, look around your desk, find something that makes you smile. All right. Oh, I'm seeing somebody's just like, here's a drink I'm going to make. That's making me smile. This cat is just, it's just, you know, it just feels good to hold this particular cat. I'm not even sure what the wood is on it. Somebody's holding a, Deborah, what is that?
This is a monkey that was made in Denmark. This is where my fiance lives.
Oh, that's lovely. Yes.
Yes, thank you.
What are you holding up there, Bob?
It's a dinosaur with a briefcase.
It's also
that... Okay, all right. So a yes and no block. Yes, does that depend on your mood, Louise? Yeah, okay. There's a rationale for what I just did. Very similar to starting your meetings off with about 5 minutes of let's chat for a little bit. There is, social psychology has found that if people are in a good mood, they're more relaxed, and you can actually approach difficult topics more easily and more open to new ideas and different ideas if you are thinking positively about something. So first of all, what you've got is everybody is now smiling, because I asked you to look for something that's smiling, that makes you smile. It doesn't have to be doing that. But let's say you walked into a meeting and you say, we're going to talk about the budget. What's the first thing you're going to be doing? Oh no, we're talking about the budget. And your mind is like really closed because this is a stressful time when it comes to the budget. But if you're thinking positively when you enter into that, your mind is much more able to consider different alternatives rather than that narrowness. So this is a little bit of social psychology, and it's a lot easier to do in person to talk about positive things. But this is a simple way of, you know, something like that that makes you think that way. There has been a Zoom security update. Some of you I've already spoken to about that. If you came in one of the more recent Zoom 1.0, Zoom basic ones. But Zoom has now defaulted that when you're scheduling meetings, it's going to default to requiring a password. The password is in the link when you schedule the meeting. So if somebody has the link, they can come in automatically. They don't have to know what the password is. But if they're calling in, or if you have set it up so that they just automatically go to a room and they have to enter a password, that's the default now. That it used to be you had to opt in to requiring a password. Now you have to opt out if you don't want one when you're scheduling a meeting. Every meeting is now automatically going to have a waiting room. You have to opt out of having your meeting have a waiting room rather than opt into requiring a waiting room. So these are some of the security updates that Zoom has done. And in the process of doing that, they changed a lot of the advanced options, which I'm going to be going through with you today. So yesterday afternoon, I just redid all the slides because they now look different. Okay, so let's see. Other ways to keep people involved is for example, this. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to ask Kyle to unmute herself and read the agenda. Oops, there it is. That's the one.
All right.
Kyle, could you please read the agenda?
Will do. So today we're going to start with our welcome, which I assume we did, and we talked about the security update. So we're going to move into creating a virtually in-person atmosphere. Well, I guess we talked about that too. So we'll look at settings, polling, voting, and the sense of the room. Later on, we'll move into collaboration, including breakout rooms that I'm interested in learning about, and ended up with questions.
Yep. Thank you very much. And one of the reasons I've asked Kyle to read that, and it could have been anybody, is if all you're doing is staring at me, talking at you, or at a screen, it gets very boring, and it's easier for people to just kind of glaze over or start looking at their emails or whatever. But if you can create an interactive opportunity, then it's another voice that they're hearing, that the people on the screen are hearing, not just mine. So we did talk a little bit about the in-person. I'm going to throw a couple more tidbits in as we go, but that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. One of the things to be concerned about is sometimes people do not have a camera, do not have a camera on their computer, but they can see the screen. So they may be talking, they may be able to hear things, but you won't be able to see them. Or conversely, they may be able to see you and you can see them, but their audio is not working and they're coming in on their telephone instead. So if somebody cannot see the screen at all, it's really important to talk about what people are seeing and being very explicit about what you're showing them. So for example, if you were showing a budget on the screen and you've sent it out in advance, and you've got somebody on your call that is only in on audio, but they have it in front of them. So you're talking about budget line payroll. Instead of just talking about payroll, you say something like, Joanne, we're talking about payroll, that's on line 33 on the spreadsheet. So it's kind of being explicit and being aware of what people can and cannot see and what they can or cannot hear. Now we're going to go looking at settings. Yay. I'm sharing the screen again. And back to the PowerPoint. There we go. Oh, there, okay. The settings start with scheduling and security. I just talked a little bit about the security. There have been, if you've not heard before, that there's something called Zoom bombing. People are coming into other people's meetings and occasionally being profane, shouting things in all caps, unmuting themselves because they weren't muted when they first came in, and saying nasty things. That's why Zoom created those additional security measures. This is where you'll find your scheduling. When you first, if you are a Zoom host and you go into Zoom, this is what you see. Lower left is your schedule. And these are some of the changes since the last time. They automatically generate a new meeting ID instead of one that you normally have. This is their default now, that they'll generate a new meeting ID. They default to requiring a meeting password now. The idea of having an automatically generated meeting ID versus using your personal meeting ID helps for a lot of different things. One is it mitigates the possibility of Zoom bombing if somebody knows what your meeting ID is. But it also means if you're having back-to-back meetings, you have a meeting that starts at 3, you think it's going to be open by 10 to finished by 10 to 4, but you're not. If everybody's using the same meeting ID for your meeting, you have the people who are coming into your next meeting joining your meeting that you haven't finished yet. But if you generate a new meeting ID for every meeting, that can't happen. They'll just be in a waiting room until you open up the next one. Feel free to unmute yourself if you have a question, okay? Because there's few enough in this room that we can chat about things.
Yes, I have a question. So if you if you have scheduled a meeting and you did not have it generated automatically, can you go back to that same meeting and then change it? Or do you have to create a new meeting?
You can change it, but then you have to send a new link to the people who were going to be attending it.
Okay.
So I would say if you haven't scheduled a lot of them, you're probably safe just going with what you already have.
Okay.
And then from then forward, it'll automatically generate new ones if you want,
Okay.
unless you opt out of it.
Thank you.
Okay. If you click on the advanced question down here, where I'm circling, advanced options, this is the screen that you'll see. Advanced options are to enable the waiting room. That's automatically checked for you unless you opt out. You can allow people to join the meeting before the host, but they'll still be in a waiting room. Otherwise, what they'll see, if you don't enable the meeting before you join host, what they'll see is the meeting has not yet started. You won't even be in a waiting list. You'll just say, in a waiting room, just say, the meeting has not yet started. Now we're going to settings. Where you find your settings is upper left corner where it says Zoom, assuming you're on your computer, where all of your applications are across the top and it says Zoom. You can have a drop-down box, click on Preferences, and here Preferences will take you to Zoom Preferences. Other places to find it are up here, with that little cartwheel that kind of means settings for almost every application you got, that one. Or you can click on your face and you'll get the drop-down box that then lets you go to settings. 3 different places. They make it pretty easy to find, unlike some other programs. When you click on settings, what you see is this screen, which starts with your general settings. Very simple. One thing they did is, are you using 2 different monitors or not? Are you asking me to confirm when I leave a meeting so you don't accidentally hit the wrong thing? This is various and sundry different options. Nothing that I think is urgent at this point. The next screen is you go to click on video, and this shows you what you look like when you're going into a meeting. Mirror my video. Do you want it to look like when you look in a mirror? Do you see what you look like, or do you want it to look otherwise? I think most people kind of opt for mirror my video. Do you always want participant names on their video image? Yes, I do. Do you always want to show a video preview dialogue when joining a meeting? I happen to really like to see myself before I open up a meeting, before I enter a meeting. So I always have this, always show me a video preview dialogue. I want to make sure that my hair's right, that the room behind me, the door is closed, things like that. So by showing the video, I can see that. You go down to, I just went past audio because those are a little bit more esoteric, but I recommend that you just open up your settings. If you are a host, if you have an account, open up your settings and just look at them all. Play with them. Find a couple of friends and say, I need somebody to play with my Zoom account just so I can see what things do. It can be a lot of fun to do that. I did that with my sisters and my cousins. But I moved over to share screen because these are some things that you'll want to know about. Do you want to always enter a full screen when a shared screen is shared? That makes it easier for people to see if it gets bigger. Do you want to scale it to fit your content to the window? So if you're sharing a screen, do you want it to actually fit in it, or do you want it to have to scroll through it? Chat is something that you'll also want to know about is, how many, if you're looking at something else on the screen. So for example, you're sharing your screen and you can't see all of your toolbar. But if somebody wants to send you a chat, you want to know that somebody sent you a chat. And so it will bounce that application, it will turn in a different color, it'll flash. If you don't have that, you don't know that somebody has sent you a chat. Or it might be there, but it's not obvious to you. Virtual background. Bob Wasserback has mastered this. He is somewhere on the beach. We're not sure where. He thinks it's the Caribbean. But this is where you would find your virtual background. It's in your settings. Click on virtual background. It comes with a couple preloaded, but you can put whatever picture you want in there. I sometimes want to opt for the riverfront because it looks like I'm broadcasting from the riverfront. But occasionally I'll want to say, feel like I'm back in Greece in front of this restaurant.
Are these your own pictures?
Some of them are, yep. These two are, actually anything after the outer space one are mine. So you can upload your pictures.
Oh.
Oh, yes. You can, down here, if I was to scroll up, actually it's right up here, this plus sign over here, that's how you can upload your own pictures.
Okay.
Okay.
I just say that I was on a Zoom with a funder, and they had their logo in the background.
Yeah.
So I thought
any
that
picture.
was good if people wanted, some privacy.
Yeah, there's putting up your logo in the background. It's also a little advertising for them. And also to make it more, some people might want it to feel a little bit more professional than sitting in your living room or your kitchen. And I see Kyle has her logo behind her.
Yeah, so our national our nonprofit, the Junior League, is part of a national organization, and they have been providing us certain resources to use, and this is one of them that we can use during Zoom calls.
That's awesome. That's great. What a good idea. I hadn't even thought of that. Awesome. Now for recording, if anybody remembers what these things are, to cassette tape.
Sorry about that.
Okay. So when you click on recording under all your settings, this is what you'll see. Where do you want to record your meetings? Either to the cloud or to your computer. Dana is asking me to record to the cloud, and so that's what I'm doing. When I do it, I tend to record to my computer, but you can just read the pros and cons of them on the Zoom website. Depends on what you want to do. Do you want a timestamp on it? Do you want to always record there, or do you want to choose a location after the meeting ends, in which case it'll come up with a dialog box asking you to tell it where do I want it stored. You automatically come with, I think, about close to 200 meg. Wait, I have a gig of cloud record storage available to me. I don't use it much, but that's how you'd know how much you have. So those are the settings that you'll find on that you can access on your computer, because those settings actually are uploaded when you get your Zoom account. So those are on your computer. Advanced settings are a little bit different. When you click on profile, you've got that list of things like general, video, audio, share screen, chat, background, etc. When you click on profile, you get this screen, only it's your picture instead of me, and you click on advanced features. When you click on advanced features, it will open up the browser version. So you're going to be going to the Zoom website for the advanced features. okay? When you open up the browser, actually that front thing doesn't disappear. You have to close it, and then you can see what they're showing you. So it goes to your account on Zoom, and it's automatically showing you your settings. And it starts a long, 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 long list of things that are advanced settings. The first thing it's showing you is the schedule meeting advanced settings. Do you want to start with your meetings with your host video on? Do you want participants to be showing up with their video on automatically? These are toggle switches. It's either yes, no, on, off. Oh, excuse me. I'm trying to move. There we go. Do you want to allow people to join before you're the host? Here's the security measures that they've added. They have them in several places because they're very concerned about this. Do you want to require a password when scheduling new meetings? This is now automatically toggled on. When you schedule the meeting, you can toggle it off, but it's automatically on. Do you always want to require a password? They've actually made this so that you can't turn it off. You have to do it when you are actually scheduling it. Oh, for instant meetings, that's where you're going onto your screen and it says start a meeting right now. It's going to automatically require a password for the instant meetings. Do you want them to embed a password in your meeting link? I would say yes, unless you think people are going to be sharing that link to a lot of other people, in which case you don't necessarily want the password incorporated into the link. You can send the people that you want at the meeting what the password is in an email separately. One more layer of security. Okay, where are we right now? It is 11:29, and before we continue, we're going to take a 30-second stand up and stretch break in case, assuming you're able to, stand up and stretch.
I'm glad I turned my video off.
Oh, man. Okay. All right. That is one of the tips for making it virtually in person. If you were in a meeting, you would not be sitting still the whole time. You'd be leaning, turning from one person to another who's in that conference. You'd be turning to the person next to you, writing notes to them, maybe getting up and getting a cup of coffee. This is much more static. Your body becomes stiff. So it doesn't hurt to just say, okay, everybody stand up and stretch. And if you know it's going to be a longer meeting, say a 2-hour meeting, don't wait to take a break. Instead of having a longer 15-minute break, have 2 10-minute breaks, because your body stiffens up when you're just facing straight ahead and you're not doing anything else. How are we doing so far?
Good.
Doing okay? Excellent, excellent. Go back to sharing the screen again. PowerPoint, yes. If you haven't been in one of my meetings before on doing these, I'm letting you know that what you're seeing, what I'm sharing with you, is a PowerPoint. I just took photos of everything that I saw on my screen, I did screenshots and put them into a PowerPoint, other than actually showing it you live, because this way I have a lot more control over what you're seeing. And I recommend that if you are going to be sharing a lot of images of some kind or another, not if it's a Word document that you're all going to be working on or some other document you're working on, but if you're just going to be sharing something with a lot of different pages to it, I recommend putting it into a PowerPoint because it's the simplest way to go from one to the next page. So now we are still on basic meeting. We're in meeting basics. Do you want to mute participants upon entry and then allow them? The answer is yes or no. You can integrate your scheduling with your own calendar. I have mine. I use a Google calendar. So I have my invitations, my scheduling integrated with my Google Calendar. Depending on how many people you have in your meeting and whether it's an intimate meeting of people that you know or not, you can allow meeting participants to send a message to everybody. You can allow them or not to send a meeting one-to-one to an individual in that meeting with you. You can automatically save all chats. Now, the chats that are saved are the chats to everybody, not the person-to-person chats. I have mine set up to auto-save chats. I can always delete it later. I don't want to forget to save it if there's something in it that I want to save. So I have it set to automatically save chats. Still in basic meetings. This is what I think is the important one here. Do you want to allow the host to add a co-host? I would recommend that you always have this on. You do not necessarily need to create a co-host. But if you're in a meeting and you suddenly decide you want somebody to be on the watch for new people coming into the meeting and they're still in the waiting room and you don't want to be interrupted, you can turn somebody into a co-host. A co-host has all of the same controls that the host has while you are in the meeting. The other evening, my synagogue was hosting a Passover Seder for something like 40 different people. And I was turned into a co-host and I managed the waiting room while the clergy was busy doing what they were doing.
I have a question. Can you have
Sure.
more than one co-host?
Yes, you
Okay.
can have more than one co-host.
Does the co-host have to have a paid Zoom account?
No, they can be an attendee. Still in basic meetings controls. Do you want to add polls? Do you want to be able to poll your group? I see no reason to leave that off. You can always decide not to have a poll, but meanwhile you have that opportunity to do it if you want to. I personally would always show the meeting control bar in a meeting. You want to be able to find it. Your mileage may vary. Do you want to allow people to share their screen? Why not? You can always not share. You can set it up so that only the host can share or anybody can share. If you have a lot of people who are coming that you do not know, I would recommend that you'd make it into only the host. You don't know what people might decide to share if you don't know who they are. And can anybody interrupt somebody else? Only the host can. That's how I've got mine set up. Do you want people to be able to write notes on what you're showing? I have mine set to yes. That's annotation tools. And I'll show you a little bit later when we're doing collaboration where the annotation tools are. Do you want to allow a whiteboard? Sure. Do you want other people to be able to control your shared content? Do you want people to be able to give nonverbal feedback? And I'll show you where that is when we get to collaboration, when we get to polling and voting. Do you want to let people rename themselves? Sure. Again, you may decide that if you're having a really large meeting where there's a lot of people you don't know, you may not want to allow that. But for the most part, I like people to be able to rename themselves. So if somebody comes in with a very, very formal name and they really go by Kit instead of Catherine Johnson McGillicuddy, I'd like them to be able to change themselves to Kit so that people can call them that. Then we move into advanced meetings. That's what's going to be showing in blue the next time you see the screen. Do you want to allow breakout rooms? Again, I have it set to yes, because I may in the middle of a meeting want to allow breakout rooms, and unless I have this toggled on, I won't have that on my toolbar. Do you want to let people change their background? Sure. This is a visual break, so you're not looking at slides all the time. This is the something Kill River in Lewis. Brookhill, is it? In Lewis. Visual break. It's not a white screen. Next, waiting room. Do you want people to stay in a waiting room? As I said, it is now a default to put people in the waiting room. But if you're comfortable with all of the people that you will ever be having in your meetings, you can always toggle that off in your settings. Do you want to know when a recording is available? Do you want to send a copy to the person who scheduled the meeting? Well, that means that this meeting is going to be sent to Dana because they scheduled this meeting.
Susan,
Yes.
when I had looked, I do other things on a personal level, and I do a lot of coloring and so forth, and it is saved. And I've come to the point where it says, your cloud that's been allotted to you is getting full. And then, of course, they ask for payment to add more cloud. So is this also the same?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. When it's filled up, they will either suggest that you delete some,
Yes.
or buy or upgrade.
Well, let's go ahead and delete.
Well, yeah. So we're still in the advanced meeting thing. When people join, notify them. So I actually get an email if people are joining the meeting before I'm there. It's, sometimes people will show up, 10 minutes early because they're testing it or something like that, and I'm not actually at the meeting yet. I will get a notification. Do you want people to record and save the meeting to the cloud? It's toggled on, yes. Can I give you permission to record it? Yes. Again, what you're seeing is the toggles that I have on mine. This is not necessarily what Dana has, because when I made these pictures, when I did these screen captures, I was capturing my own. And then down here is one that I am going to investigate a little bit further. Recording disclaimer. As I said when we started the meeting that this is being recorded, you can actually create a message that gets sent to people before the recording starts to remind people that it is being recorded. I'm going to play with that and see what that actually looks like, because that's new. Okay, so far so good?
Mm-hmm.
Any questions? I appreciate that you're asking them as we go along. Okay, so now I am going to ask you to give me a yes or a no. So if you go to the participants link on the bottom of your toolbar, click on participants, you should see all of the people who are in the room. If you already did and you click on it, then they disappear. So click so that you can see everybody. And underneath that list of people, there's a green yes, a red no, go slower, go faster. If you click on more, you'll get thumbs up, thumbs down, applause, coffee break, and need a break, or I'm gone. So go click on one of those and tell me how we're doing.
What is that?
So I don't know if you can actually see. Can you see the results, or is it only me?
I see the results.
We can see them.
Mhm.
Awesome.
I mean, I see the individual votes.
Excuse me?
I see the individual votes. I don't see like totals for each.
No,
Right.
no. What this allows me to do is do a quick look over there. And if everybody had given, greens and then there were a couple of reds, it would give me some initial feedback on how we're doing.
So let me go back. So what is the yes and the no? So if you asked a question, then I could have clicked
Yes.
yes. Okay.
Yes, yes. I do not know if this can be made anonymous, and that's something I have to go check into, but you can take a vote this way. A very simple yes, no vote, you can take a vote this way, or at
Okay.
least get the sense of the room. I don't know if I would use this as an actual vote, but you can. But you can get a sense of the room this way. What does everybody think of this? Should we talk about this some more and get your yes and your no's that way?
Does it tally it anywhere?
Yes, I am seeing 3 yeses, 1 go faster, 6 ups. Oh, 2 applauses, thank you.
Just don't have your children with you when you're doing this, because they'll find that and have a nice play.
Sitting on your lap, or don't let your cat walk along the keyboard at that point.
So what does go slower and go faster mean? Are we telling you to go?
You're telling me to go slower or go faster. It's
Okay.
like, all right, already, we've covered this so much, let's go a little bit faster. And that's
Okay.
probably more useful if it's a straight webinar, or like what I'm doing here, which is a tutorial, as opposed to a conference
Okay.
where you're having a meeting. And then I can clear all in case I needed to ask you a different question. But you can change what you do. So if you had clicked yes, and then you said, wait a minute, I changed my mind, and then click no, it will change what you did.
Mm-hmm. But if you have 100 people as participants, how can you monitor all of that?
Generally, if you have 100 people, you're probably going to make that a webinar as opposed to a meet. Although you can do it, you can put them into breakout rooms. You can do conferences that way. But I can see my totals. I can see the totals of each of those on my screen.
Oh, on your screen. Okay.
So on my screen at that time, I saw 2 yeses. I saw 8 go faster, 8 thumbs up, things like that. So I saw totals.
Okay, gotcha.
You don't have to like 1, 2, 3, 4. No. Okay. So I just demonstrated the sense of the room. Okay. And this is what I see, and it's probably what you're seeing when I pointed it out to you. And these are nonverbal responses. So you can get responses from people in the chat if they want to ask you a question that way. But if you just want to say, should we keep talking about this, please use the yes, no buttons underneath your participants. That will get you a sense of the room. Now I'm going to stop sharing and poll you on something. Isn't that fun? I am launching a poll. Please let me know if you are seeing this question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. You should be able to answer the question. Somebody's either in the attic or the basement. Leave it on for another 3 seconds. I'm sharing the results. Are you seeing it? Yes, it worked this time. Sometimes polling gets a little glitchy. You're supposed to be able to set up the poll before the meeting starts. It doesn't seem to work for me. It might work for you. So what I've done is 10 minutes before the meeting technically starts, I go in, start the meeting, and I'll set up the poll. Or you can do it on the fly in your meeting if you're taking a vote on something. And I'll show you an example of that. So let's see. Almost about 30%, 29% of us are either in a home office or are in a home office. Another 29% are either in the family room or the living room. 21% are in your kitchen or your dining room. Somebody's in their basement or their attic. And somebody's at work. Sorry to hear that. Unless you'd rather be there because you have too much noise at home.
It's a little bit more structured, that's for sure.
Well, I can tell you that I normally work from home. So what you're seeing here is my home office. But I also normally, like 3 or 4 times a week, I'm picking up my computer and working over at Brouhaha. And so I'm getting a little tired of my office. Let's see, there was a question. Let's see. I cannot see who answers what in the poll.
Okay, so it is anonymous. Okay.
It is an anonymous poll. I can see numbers and percentages, but not who voted which way. It's a good question. Okay, I'm going to share the screen again and show you an example of a way you can use a poll in the middle of a meeting. So this is what I showed you. If you click on polling, you can write in, this is what it looks like to add a poll. Give it a title, put a question in there, and all the responses that might be possible. So if you're in the middle of a meeting and you've got 4 different options, let's say there's a contract and it's a board meeting, and you want to talk to people and you want to ask the group, after you've had this whole long discussion, what's your vote? Which option should we consider? Option A, stay the same, no change to contract. Option B, keep it with modifications. Terminate the contract and write a new one. Terminate the contract completely. Those are your 4 options. You can ask people to vote on it.
I hit a screen and I don't know what I did.
What are you seeing, Joyce?
I'm just seeing a list of everyone that's in the this meeting. So I'm going to just click out of that. Okay, now I see what option should we consider. Okay, single choice,
yeah.
multiple choice. Okay.
Yeah, now you're seeing my screen, shared screen. Okay. And you should be able to, this is after you have saved that poll, this is what you see. And then it's available when you're in the meeting. Stop sharing.
So it's a poll by Mentimeter?
No, that's something I'm going to show you next.
Okay.
The polling is Zoom. If you're a host, you'll see that option on your host toolbar at the bottom of your screen where it says mute, stop, mute video, security, participants, chat, share screen, polling, recording, breakout rooms, etc. That's right along that toolbar is where you'll find polling. But remember, unless you've set it up in your advanced settings, you'll not see that option.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, I don't see it on mine.
Right. Same thing, share screen. Unless you have set it up in your advanced settings that you're going to allow people to share a screen. You're not going to see it in your toolbar. So I really suggest, and I did this when I first got my account 5 years ago, play with your settings. Go find a friend and say, I want to have a Zoom meeting. Can you help me do this? And just play with the settings and see what it does.
Okay.
If you've got siblings that you haven't talked to in a while and everybody's sitting at home, it's a fun way to have a sibling conversation. I'm going to share my screen again and ask you to either use your phone or a tablet, or if you are proficient enough to switch over to your browser and go to this particular, and you'll see where you're supposed to go on the screen, and it's going to ask you a question. Okay? Let's see, there it is. Go to menti.com, menti.com, and it will ask you for a code, and that code is, I'll read it a few times in case you can't see two things at the same time, 855357.
Well, if I could find a pen.
I'll read it again. I could put it in chat, but it's
So, oh. I don't see the minimize button. Oh boy. Oh, you have it up here. Huh. Oh, well.
so 9 people were able to do it. I'll wait another few seconds.
Susan, is this something that you have to set up prior to the
Yes.
meeting?
Yes, this is something to set up prior to the meeting, and I'll show you how in a moment. And then there's another question that you answered.
Oh, I didn't see that one. Hold on.
Ah, if you, there's
Okay.
another question.
All right.
Anybody going to the other question?
Rank these.
Yep, yep, somebody has. I'll wait just another minute. A minute. Okay. So this is the word cloud that you developed of describe how you're feeling right now. And I would imagine the one about it's hot at the beach was Bob Wasserback.
Well, how'd you guess that? Good.
This is a bit amusing, but it's a fun little way to get people used to using the menti.com and then going into the code. But then you can actually ask them to, ask them to rank things, ask them to vote on things. And this is what you ended up with, ranking how useful are the different things going to be. They also have it coming out in pie charts, in just regular, not rankings, but vote for something. There's a lot of different ways that you can see information that you've asked for. It does have to be set up in advance. And I'll show you how that gets done. Interesting, you're the first group that said screen share before breakout rooms and polling. The last couple of times I've done this, they said that polling was going to be most useful. So now I'm going to stop sharing and then share that PowerPoint again so you can see how I did this.
Is there a cost for Mentimeter?
I have a free account.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure that there are some limitations to it. I haven't found it, but then I've only tried to do it with up to about 30 people personally.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, I haven't actually investigated the costs. But this is where you go to. It's mentimeter.com, not menti.com. That's what they use for their actual polls, but it's mentimeter.com. And you can get a free account. It's used a lot with schools to give them quizzes and such. Word clouds, live polls, Q&As. It's good if you're going to be, I've seen this used in a large conference of about 100 people. And they were giving a webinar, not a webinar, but they were giving a presentation and they were asking people for feedback. So everybody pulled out their phone, went to menti.com and answered the question. And this is what it looks like to set it up. Put your question in over here. How many entries are they going to allow you? And what kind of, where is it? Oh, before you get to this, they ask you what kind of a question are you going to ask? And I had said word cloud for this one.
Where did you put word cloud at?
It's the screen right before this.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. And then you can put your question in here and what the potential answers are.
Mm-hmm.
Type. If you click on type, it asks you what kind of a question it is.
Oh, okay.
And once you put that in, then you can put in you click on content, and that's where you put the content. Okay? Now we're going to talk about collaboration tools. You're in a big meeting. You're normally breaking out into different rooms, right? Or into different tables to work on things. You can't do that when everybody's on the screen. So one way you can use a flip chart is I pull up a blank Word document as my flip chart. Share screen. Before I start a meeting, I make sure I have a blank page saved in my Word, open it up, and then anything we need to remember, maybe this is the parking lot for a meeting, remember to, ask Carney for whatever. Notes that you take for the entire group. This becomes my flip chart, virtual flip chart.
Okay, can you go back over that again? You say you go into Word?
Before I start a meeting, I go into my Word, open up a blank sheet of paper,
Mm-hmm.
put the date on it, save it, and I can always turn over to this, and this becomes my flip chart.
Gotcha. Okay.
Other questions on that so far? That's the simplest one. You can use a whiteboard. So what you're seeing here is what I see, which is, well, it's what I saw when I did the screen capture. But if you click on share, you will see the option of your desktop, a whiteboard, and then any other documents that you have open on your desktop. That's what you'll see. When I took this screenshot, I apparently had PowerPoint open, Word open, my browser open, Safari. I had my email open. So that's my options for what to share. If you share your desktop, whatever you have on your desktop is what people will see. I strongly urge you that if you're going to be hosting a meeting, before you open up that meeting, you close everything you're not going to use. You don't want somebody you don't want to decide that you're going to open up your browser and some of those tabs are things like, Chico's purchasing or Amazon or some other website you might not want people to know that you were doing in the middle of the day. So if you close everything, you don't have to worry about that. You also probably want to close your email. You're probably not going to be showing them that. But if it's open and you're sharing your desktop, you may end up accidentally showing your emails also, and you may not want that. So I'm going to show you what to do with Whiteboard. Oops, I'm not going to show you that. I'm not there yet. Okay, I'm going to share a whiteboard. It's like having a whiteboard in your room. Can you see a toolbar? If not, what you can see, you might see viewing options on your screen. And you can
Yes.
click on viewing options.
Mm-hmm.
You can type in text. You can click on stamp and stamp all over it. They give you a couple of different potential stamps. You can draw. Feel free to play with it.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Okay, my view options are just zoom ratio, request remote control. I'm not in the right place, I don't think.
I don't think so. That's under view options.
Yep,
Yeah.
the drop down says zoom ratio, annotate, request.
Annotate.
Annotate.
Thank you. Now I see it.
If you're typing text, the rest of the people may not see it until you click out of the text box.
Okay, hold on.
So you can allow people to annotate things. Pretty sure you can allow them to annotate what you're showing on your screen. So like your flip chart as well.
So when I click on text, I'm not getting that box that you.
Okay, click on text and then click on the whiteboard and start typing.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
This is a great tool, especially for using the text. I personally am not really good at using my trackpad for drawing things. Others might be better.
Now that is weird. I had check the color blue, but it turns gold when I click on the paper.
No, can't help you there. No idea.
Yeah, well, it's usually me. People know me at work. I'm the one that comes up with the strange things.
Okay, and then you can save it, or you can automatically, I think I have my settings set for auto save, but I don't know what Dana's settings are. So you can save that, and then you can find it, tells you where to look for it.
It's a show and folder.
Right. And then you can click on, it's like, where do you want it? So if you click on show in folder, it will bring up the folder that where it is. And I didn't need to see that right now.
Okay.
I will probably not be able to find it on my computer. I will go to recent, and there it will be, and I'll be able to save it where I want it. Just my own thing. Okay. Last thing we're going to do is more collaboration. And this time, I'm going to show you the flip chart, not the flip chart, the PowerPoint. And ask you a question. One thing about breakout rooms, and this is an annoyance, is that once you're in a breakout room, the people who are in the breakout rooms cannot see the shared screen. They also cannot see the group chat. So if you're going to ask them to talk about something, you have to ask them to either take a screenshot of it or pick up their phone and take a picture of the screen so that when they're in the breakout room, they remember what you asked. So I'm going to ask you to do that right now. What the screen says is the Chinese character for crisis is made up of the characters danger and opportunity. How might your organization explore what opportunities this crisis or your response to it might make possible? So take a picture of it. And then I'm going to put you into breakout rooms. I'm going to put you into rooms for about 2 minutes just to give you a taste of this and ask you to talk a little bit about that question. Let's You'll have to accept being put into the breakout room.
Oops, where'd you go? Oh no.
Deborah, what are you seeing on your screen?
Zoom recognized as web conference leader based. Okay, let me try something here. Oh dear. Okay. Okay, well, maybe I'll come in here. No, I just lost the video and everything. And it says, write your review. I'll have to go back out and get back in again.
Nope, you're here.
Oh, wow.
You are here, Deborah.
I see you.
Oh, I just see this advertisement, so. Oh dear. You folks are glad you don't live with me. Oh my.
Are we in another one?
Nope.
Yeah.
You're coming back. You're coming into the main group,
Okay.
but I'm still waiting for several people.
Okay. Unfortunately, I have to leave the meeting, but I did have a question for you, Susan.
Sure.
And I wanted to know, after a meeting is over,
Mhm.
do we get reports to say who was in that meeting? How do we?
That's the next advanced thing, but if you go into your advanced settings, actually, if you go into your own, where did I find it? Okay, if you were the host, you go into your profile, you go into your meetings, and not the upcoming ones, the ones that you've had,
Mhm.
and there is a way to find out who attended the meetings. So it's there.
Okay.
It's just that we're already at an hour and 15, and there are things I just could not throw into this.
Okay. Is there another Zoom meeting that's going to be taking place?
To the best of my knowledge, the next one we'll be working on is how to use Zoom for board meetings.
Oh, great.
Oh, boy.
Oh, well,
Do we
that
know,
leaves
do
me
we know
out.
when that's going to be?
I know it'll be towards the end of next week. I was just asked to develop it.
Okay. Sounds great.
Okay. All right.
All right. See you
Okay.
all.
So anyway, see you all then, but I can show you how you set that, what the breakout rooms looks like. And if you want to stay on there,
Okay.
not breakout rooms.
Thank you, Susan. I have to drop off also.
Okay. All right.
Take care. Bye.
Take care. Where is it? Did everybody drop out?
No.
Okay, there we go. So when you're in the meeting, if you're the host and you click on breakout rooms, you will see this square that says assign and then however many participants you are into how many rooms. And then it does the math for you. So I didn't want 5 people per room, so I just kept on increasing this until I got about 2 to 4 people in the room. Does it automatically. Or if you say you want to do it manually, it will open up that many rooms and you'll see this. Who do you want to assign to which room?
Oh, okay.
So you'll get breakout room 1, or here I have breakout room 2 is what I clicked on, and it gave me this. Who do you want to assign into it? And you just click on those, and that's who I want to assign into that room. Then, if you want to move people from room to room, it's very handy. Let's say you want people to start in groups of 2, and then 2 twos, put them together. You can move Aaron and Anna into the room that has Aaron's iPad. Just by move to, and it comes up with where do you want to move it to, and you can tell them breakout room 1 or breakout room 2 or whatever. So you can start combining people who are meeting. This is how I sent you the notification of how long to talk. There's a broadcast a message to all once the rooms are open. And I could put anything in there. And you can close all the rooms at once. As the host, you can join any of those rooms. So if I wanted to join the room with Aaron and Anna and ask them how's it going, I can click on join and meet and join with them. Then when you click on closing it, their default is 60 seconds, but you can change that in, oh, I don't remember whether it's in the advanced settings or not. I don't recall where it is that you can change that default. And that concludes
I have one
Zoom
question.
2.0. Yes, a question. No, I'm going to take questions now.
Oh, okay, so with the breakout rooms, I was in a meeting last week. We're planning to do it again this week, and there were 40 people in the meeting, and we had already decided we wanted to go into breakout groups beforehand, so we were able to email which breakout room we wanted to go into. And she always has a person taking notes, another person is a co-facilitator to help out with the breakout rooms. Is there a way to assign people ahead of time the breakout?
Yes.
Open it up? Okay.
Yes, there is a way to assign people in advance. That's useful when you know everybody in the room.
Right.
But I would recommend that you be ready to change it, because if somebody doesn't show up or whatever. But yes, you can, there are ways to do that in advance.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep. Other questions about this? I'm going to end the recording and then take, you know, more specific questions to your own situations. So, okay. Wonderful. Stopping recording. Stop it.